So this past weekend, there was quite a few of us who competed in an international competition. It was a hackathon called the Rails Rumble, and this year was the 2013. So the Rails Rumble is basically a 48-hour long hackathon. It starts where you get your team together. The team is a max of 4 people, so 1 to 4 people. And you come up with an idea, you design it, you build up your server. So it's, you don't get the benefit of any Heroku setups or anything like that. So, building up your server, you're designing it, you're building the front end, you're building the back end, and fully implementing this idea with your team within the 48 hours. Now, there's only a max of 500 teams, but it is an international competition. So it's people competing from all over the world. The competition, there is actually prizes. So there's a top 10 plus a crowd favorite at the end. And judges go through, they vote on which apps they like, rank them. And there's lots of really cool prizes, especially this year. Last year, we had 2 teams compete from LV Rug. One team was, Jason was on. What's that? Oh, is this going to sleep there? Okay, anyway, so yeah, last year was 2 teams. One, Jason, Gabe were on. It was just...
Dylan was on that team too.
What's that?
Dylan was on that team too.
Dylan was supposed to be on the team, but unfortunately it didn't because Dylan's allergic to...
Let that go. Oh my god. You're sick and you're allergic to cats. And you don't hear the end of it.
And then the other team was myself, Judd, Russ, and Russ's girlfriend, Andrea. And the team that Russ, I, and Judd were all on, we actually placed 9th last year. So, hopefully we get one of the teams this year to place really well. So who actually competed this year? I'm going to go through all these different teams. So the first team that we had was Judd David. This is JR. He's not actually a member of the LV Rug, but he owns the CoBiz co-working space, and so he helped out with the design on T1, and then there's Brian down there. And the app that they worked on was HighScore Hub. So it's actually live right now. You can go to highscorehub.com to take a look at it, but this is the app right here that they built. So this application, the idea behind it is pretty much to track high scores at CoBiz co-working. If you haven't actually been there, we have a MAME cabinet, which is just kind of a arcade emulator. And so we wanted a way to be able to track the high scores in all the different games. And so Judd came up with the idea, how about allowing other people to also be able to track their high scores. Pinball Hall of Fame, they're actually going to be using, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pinball Hall of Fame, so they actually even have a client lined up to use it. But yeah, so you can check that out, and if you want to, start making your own high score zones and all that kind of stuff. Anything else you want to say about how the app works? Judd?
No. Pretty straightforward. Just tracking scores, and we learned a lot, and always, there's never enough time.
All right, so the team 2, which is Dave, Ian, and Chris. The app that they did is called Foursquare.com. They actually had a 4th member, Chris Shepard, but he couldn't make it at the last minute. So this is Foursquare.com. This is the app that Team 2 did. So the idea behind this one was you check in with Foursquare, and it checks to see where you're checking in at, and then does kind of this lookup to see crime data in that area. So basically, you check in to the ghetto or whatever, and then the more crime that's in that area, the more points you get. And so it's kind of sort of like this game. And then they have this leaderboard that's how gangster are you? Where are you checking into and all this kind of stuff. But oddly enough, I went on this. I went to go check it out and stuff and see what they were doing, and so it showed all the different areas where I was checking in at, and most of them were green, except for when I was checking at Russ's house, it was red. So somehow, I don't know why, but somehow there's lots of crime floating around Russ's house. So I was getting lots of points for that. But yeah, pretty neat. If you use Foursquare, definitely check that out. Team 3, which is Rachel, Nick, Jason, and Don. And the app that they did was called Task Buddy. Task Buddy is pretty much an app where you can have your friends do stuff for you, right? Rachel, you want to explain more?
Yeah, so the app doesn't work at all, but the concept was like, if you have something that you need one of your friends to do or family members, you send them a task and then they can either hit accept or reject. And you can give them a due date for it as well, and then like they have their dashboard with all the things that they need to do. Yeah, it doesn't work.
No worries. So yeah, there's that one, and this is what that app looked like. So we can go and log in and look at it if you want to inspect the HTML and CSS.
Or if you want an app that like really logs into GitHub really well and then logs out.
There you go. There's all right.
Process.
So Team 4 was the one I was on with Justin, Grayson, and Nick Ballard, who doesn't have any photo on.
I'm a mystery man.
Yeah, fail for you. Grayson's not actually a part of the LD Rug either, but he works with me at the Visa, so he helped out with some design there. But the app that we did is called datingscene.me. So that's actually up, and here's what it looks like. So the idea behind our app was we wanted a dating website that was like super simple to use. So instead of going in and creating an account, a profile, and all this kind of stuff, the idea, even though the app doesn't work, is you come in, you know, you want to make a profile video, so you click make a video. It says, you know, hey, we want to turn on your camera, so you say okay. It turns on the camera, then it asks you a question, and we have like 100 different questions, and they're completely random questions. Like, you know, one of them, my favorite one on there is, you know, if the moon were made of spare ribs, would you eat it? You know, so it asks you a question, and then, you know, it flips on your camera and then records your answer. So you know, you just say, like, you actually just talk to it, you know, whatever your answer is, and then it cuts off, asks you the next question, does that, and it does that 4 times. And then so what's supposed to happen at the end is you enter in your email address, and we actually take those 4 little snippets, and then we create a movie from the question. So we insert the question and then the snippet, question, snippet, and then so you have basically like this 25-second long video. And we were gonna overlay the theme song to Love Boat, you know, like playing in the background. And then you could say view others, and you'd see other people's videos that they made. You know, if you like someone's video, you enter in your email address and it kicks over a, you know, a note to them. Whatever. But hopefully one day we'll actually get this to work.
How did you do the video processing and like record it?
That man did it all.
How did you use the HTML5 recorder for the webcam or Flash?
We did, yeah. We did the recording was kind of a mix between HTML5 and.
Did you actually get the HTML5 method to work?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, no, it actually records the videos and everything, and it actually does the processing. The thing we forgot was there was a couple file path issues. So.
Did you send it over like XHR, or did you do like a streaming media to the back end to send the video to the server?
We used a third-party service to help us with that.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, I can show you more about it later. So it's pretty cool. So Team 5 was Aaron, Mark, and Kevin, and they did this sort of octopus. Any of you guys here? No. Oh, okay. Kind of like the last hour of Rails Rumble. So, fortunately, these guys, their app kind of looked like this by the end. So, you know, there was definitely some lessons learned there. The idea behind it was there's a blogging engine called Jekyll, and there's a thing on top of it called Octopress that allows you to build like a whole blog. So the idea was a web builder that builds Octopress sites. So I guess you were supposed to like click, type in a couple things, and bam, you have your own Octopress blog set up, deployed to GitHub, and all that cool fancy stuff. but obviously it didn't work. So sad times. Judges. So there's actually quite a few judges. And you know, you may see some faces you recognize, you may not. This guy right here, Justin, he actually was in the first Ruby weekend. Flew down from Canada just to come, you know, be a part of the Ruby weekend and stuff. So kind of cool that he's actually judging a Rails Rumble competition now. Some other Ryan Big, he was out here not too long ago. All these cool guys. So yeah, these are all the judges that are judging the apps. These guys, and that's the end of the judges. So basically, what the judges are doing is at the end of the competition, which for us here in Vegas, the competition ended at 5 p.m. on Sunday. So at that point, they closed off all the GitHub repos. You couldn't push any more code. You couldn't update your servers. Nothing. At that point, it was pencils down. You're done. And so all the judges, they kind of they all start going through, and I'm sure they each get assigned a certain number of apps. You know, maybe 5, 10 apps or whatever. That's the only apps that they're going to judge on. And so at that point, they start going through. They start ordering them in the orders that they like them, and they start looking at the apps based on design, creativity, completeness, usefulness of the app, and I think that's it. There might be another category, but yeah, they're doing the judging right now. So the judging actually ends October 24th at 23:59 UTC, which for us here is 5 p.m. tomorrow. So at 5 p.m. tomorrow, they should be announcing who the winners are, and hopefully, you know, we have 5 teams from LV Road, so hopefully we get at least one somewhere in the top 10. You know, crowd favorite, at least. So what's the things that we actually learned from doing this thing? Now for me, Judd, Jason, you know, this is our third one that we've done. So we've kind of had this time to, you know, learn different things over the course. But every single time, it doesn't matter. It's always a lot of the same things that still come up. First one is know your team. So, you know, you get your team together, and, you know, you might say like, oh, you know, I just want to do this with my buddies, which is cool. But if you got 4 back-end developers, no designers, you know, no front-end guys, then you're going to have basically a front-end that looks like scaffolding and the solid back-end, right? So then you get knocked down for design and stuff like that. So kind of having a diverse team where you can have your front-end guy, your back-end guy, you know, someone who knows design, and definitely someone who knows, you know, DevOps and back-end development as well. Really, really helps. 2 is keep the idea simple and unique. Now, there's never enough time. Ever. No matter how easy you think you can make the idea, there's never enough time. You're just going to run out of time. So you need to make sure that you keep your idea as simple as you can, but you have to also remember that you need to keep it unique. I'm noticing now, looking through some of the apps, that there's lots of recurring themes across some of them where, you know, you'll come to an app and you'll see like the idea of what it's supposed to be, and then like 10 apps later, you'll see kind of the similar idea. You know, there's like there's one app that's like, you know, what do you want to eat for lunch? And it randomly picks a restaurant near you for lunch. And then there's another one that's like, try new food for dinner, you know? So it picks something that you might not normally try for dinner, but they're kind of in a similar space. So it's really hard to, you know, compete like that, you know? So just having this really unique idea and just keeping it as simple as you can. Less features, more design. You know, so you get this idea for this app that you want to build, and you're like, oh, we could do this and this and this and this, and this, you know, all these kinds of things. But each one of those things, like, exponentially increases the amount of time that it's going to take to actually build your application. So knock down the number of features they can and more design. Like with the dating scene app, that's pretty much what we did. You know, if you've seen that homepage, there was 2 buttons: make a video or view other people's videos. That was pretty much all you could do. There was nothing really else you could do on the site. So we went with the least amount of features. Unfortunately, we still ran out of time. So 4, deploy early and deploy often. One of the things that the Team 5 ran into is Aaron coming up to me at, what was it, like 1 o'clock on Sunday, 4 hours until the end of the competition. He's like, all right, I'm ready to deploy my app. What do I need to do? And I was like, dude, I've slept 4.5 hours in the past 56 hours. So like, I can't answer that question. Yeah, and he's like freaking out because like he's like, I gotta deploy my app. I'm like, is your server built? He's like, no, how do I do that? I was like, oh man. Like, oh dude, I tried to help him the best I could, but I mean, my DevOps skills suck as it is. So, you know, being that sleep deprived, I was just like, I'm the worst person to ask. But yeah, my team, we ran into an issue because, you know, stupid me, you know, this is totally my bad, but I was thinking, oh man, I know exactly how we should have the server built up. And, you know, so I had Justin back there. I was like, all right, Justin, this is what I think we should have for, you know, the technology stack. And he was like, cool, I'm on it. He starts going at it. What was it, like 12 hours later, our server still wasn't up. And we're just like, F it, let's just go with the default settings on everything. Just, you know, so we finally, you know, were able to get up and running. But yeah, that's the main thing is that if you get your app deployed right away, even if it's broken, then at that point you're just pushing fixes. You're not having to worry about any of the other stuff. You know, get your domain pointed over, and all that kind of stuff. So number 5 is build a concept app and not a business. A lot of people, you know, they want to take these hackathons and they want to actually make their next $1 million idea, whatever. But you know, in doing that, you know, especially like I think I've seen one app that wants to take credit card payments. I'm like, I don't know if I trust an app that was built in 48 hours. You know, you're not really building a business, you know, out of these. I mean, obviously you could afterward, you know, especially if you win first place, you know, definitely use those resources. But to me, I think you're pretty much building a concept app. You're building an app that, you know, works, you know, looks nice, but it's kind of like, you know, gives people like, oh man, yeah, if they could just spend one more day on it, the system could be amazing. You know, I mean, that's really what you're shooting for, and it's totally feasible to do within 48 hours. And so 6, the sleep does wonders. Like I said, I only slept 4.5 hours the first night because we were dealing with all the server stuff. Justin and I didn't sleep at all. I think at one point I power napped for about 30 minutes and then got up and I was ready to go. But yeah, the second night I slept for about 4 hours. I got up and I felt refreshed enough that I could think straight, and I was able to knock out a couple of bugs that were, you know, getting on my nerves and stuff like that. But yeah, sleep definitely does wonders when you're doing these things. You know, if you have a strong enough team, you can sleep in, you know, rotations there or whatever, so that way someone's always working on the project. But yeah, it definitely helps. Manage your time. So where we did the Rails Rumble, you know, we're at a co-working spot, so there wasn't showers. You know, there was just the one bathroom. There was no, I mean, we had snacks and, you know, definitely a lot of caffeine and stuff like that, but, you know, you definitely wanted to leave at points, go shower, and go grab like real food or whatever the case is. But, you know, you got to manage your time because you got to say like, well, if I have certain things that I need to accomplish, then if I take off for 2 hours, that's 2 hours I'm losing on, you know, building that thing. You know, maybe I can call up someone, have them come bring me something, you know, or have one of the other teammates, you know, hey, you go get food for the whole team, you know, so that way we can still keep working. And on another note with managing your time is, and I do this all the time, but you get stuck on a problem and you're like, I can't move forward until I solve this problem. But that's not really the case, right? Do a commit, you know, on that branch, check out a new branch, whatever, start working on a new problem. Come back to that problem later, okay? I know I always have trouble doing that, but yeah, that's in these sort of competitions, that's one of the best things you can do. You know, just you're spending too much time on a problem, you're like an hour, 2 hours in, screw it, move on to the next thing, see what else you can accomplish and come back to it. So, be prepared. I had one of the guys from one of the other teams come up to me. It was around 3-ish on Sunday and asked me, what does this MySQL error mean? And I said, it means that you don't have MySQL installed on your machine. And he was like, well, I need to boot up Rails. I'm like, you haven't booted up Rails? What have you been doing? So yeah, have your machine set up for whatever it is that you're going to need. We especially learned that on our project was we had to compile FFmpeg to do video processing, to be able to split videos and to compress videos together and everything like that. And the compilation for FFmpeg took 2 hours?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
2 hours?
I mean, with socks and all the audio and everything.
Yeah, so had we known that we were going to need FFmpeg ahead of time, then we could have compiled it onto our local machines at least, to save us some time there. But yeah, that was, having your machine set up, and, obviously you might not know everything you're going to need, but at least have your database installed, and Rails installed, 9, so sleep does wonders. Yeah, just need to reiterate that. And 10 is the most important one, which is just have fun. And it is a competition, and there are actual prizes and stuff like that. But really, if you're working on an app that you just don't enjoy, then there's no reason that you could be doing it. Just have fun with it. Make a silly app or whatever the case is. One of my favorite apps I was playing with last night was the emoji stores. That's not what it's called. Oh, I freaking love that app. I was playing with that for like an hour, just rolling. But anyway, if you want to see all the entries, you can go over to this website here and check out all the different entries on there. See who's who and what apps were built and everything. And that is what I have. Questions?
Yeah, so they wouldn't let you use Heroku or Engineer or?
No, so Linode has always been the server of choice. So Linode's actually one of the partners, and they provide all the servers and everything like that. I think it's also, on one aspect it's like, well, it's an extra challenge to kind of throw in there to make the competition a little bit more stressful for you. And then on the other cases, they can SSH in as root. They can see how you did things and, are you cheating or whatever the case is.
Do you get root access?
To Linode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So could you
Yeah.
download an LXC container with your environment on it and use that?
Say again?
Could you download an LXC or OpenBZ container that's pre-configured into the Linode VM?
I'm sure you could probably set it up however you want, but you have to give the judges root access as well. So anything you can do, they have to be able to do. Otherwise, you're instantly disqualified. So, other questions?
Why is maybe there's somebody else or any there's a lot of us in this room who participated. Does anybody else have anything to add to what they learned during the competition process?
David, you had some stuff?
Oh, sure. I learned how hard I can push myself, and it was a lot of fun. Also, I was the only one who slept over at CoBiz, but I would highly recommend it because it means you can push yourself until you're just about to fall over.
David worked the hardest on the app by far.
I mean, you don't want to drive home when you're really, really tired, but you should be working on your app until you're really, really tired. So we stayed up till 4 a.m. on the first night and 2 a.m. on the second night.
You still have lines under your eyes.
Yeah, it was a good time. Oh, and also it took me 3 hours just to deploy our app the first time because Capistrano always gives a big error message and you have to dig through your SSH settings. So yeah, definitely do that early.
Ian, what about you?
Use environment variables so Gabe can't break your app.
Yeah, so afterwards, after the competition was over, after 5, we all set up, and it's always been a tradition to kind of go through the other people and kind of see what they did and stuff like that. And we had fun just kind of messing around with everyone else's apps and stuff like that. But anyone else? Any feedback, Jason?
Yes, along the lines of be prepared. You might be going into the competition with an idea of how your app should be architected. Test out all the pieces of that so you can actually build it that way.
Yeah, that's good. Brian?
Yeah, always test your production. So you change something, it looks good on your local machine, then when you deploy it, then
Our 500 pages didn't show up even though we have it done in development. Yeah. That was a tough one.
Yeah. If you're over the age of 18, you can go look at my 500 page. You have to be over 18. Anyone else want to add anything learned?
Well, I guess I don't really like Slim all that much because I kept on getting bad error messages from it. Slim isn't all good, but
Cool. All right. Well, that's